Welcome to part 4 of the Twist Block series. Like I promised you guys before, we were going to do 4 videos talking about different aspects of twist blocks. In part 1, we talked about the production of twist blocks at the factory of Start Somewhere. At the second part, we went to a residential house where we looked and discussed about that particular housing unit. In part 3, we went to different schools that built their structures using the twist blocks. And in this one, we're going to discuss about this project, but I'm not alone. We have 2 gentlemen here who will introduce themselves. My name is Nick Muema from Property Noma.
My name is Samson Ontweka from Start Somewhere.
My name is Daniel Muthama from Livelihood Impact Fund.
So, Mr. Muthama, you are the right person to ask. Why did you develop this particular project? And to start with, what is Livelihood Impact Fund?
Livelihood Impact Fund is a non-profit organization which is in Kenya currently. The reason why we are doing it is just to create employment and also improve livelihoods by giving them better services. So we've got so many things that we are doing, both in Kibera and also Mukuru and Mathare. But housing and construction, particularly we are in Kibera. So although we are moving in Mukuru in the next few weeks or few months. So the reason why we are doing this is just to create employment, because we have created so much employment by doing this, because we pick constructed from this area, the materials we buy from Kibera and everything we get from Kibera. So apart from just giving employment, again we provided some essential services like water, like electricity, and that's something that we as Livelihood Impact Fund aimed for. We needed just to see people in Kibera living in better houses than they usually live.
Kindly tell us more details about this project. What kind of housing units are they?
So these houses are in Kibera, in a place known as Soweto, one of the villages in Kibera. So these are rental houses. As just I've mentioned that we needed to provide some good houses and better living standards for people living in this area. So this one we decided to do it here in Soweto, just because we looked at the area. So before we did the construction, the area was like there was a house which was existing here for more than 20 years, a muddy house which was not good at all. They were paying rent of 3,500. There were no toilets, the electricity was not formal, there was no water. So now we said, why can't we come and maybe do something better just to make them feel living in a safe area. So we came and did the rentals. There are 8 units.
How did you approach Mr. Sam here from Start Somewhere?
When we thought about coming in Kibera, we had something in mind that in case of fire outbreak, so much destructions happens here in Kibera, because these houses burn out, like all of them. Again, when there's demolition by the government, because this land is owned by the government, so people tend to lose a lot of things. So we needed maybe can we get some blocks or some methods of construction whereby maybe in case of fire there would be less impact on it, and also in case the government decides to maybe to demolish everything, can we get some materials whereby we can deconstruct. So this one we looked at different types of blocks, and twist blocks was favoring in this area, because all this area, all this house is deconstructible. So in case the government says now from next week I don't need to see you guys here because this is our land, we can take away our materials and maybe we can save about 90% of it. So looking at this area, this is Kibera. So can we get someone who produces these blocks in Kibera? And yes, Start Somewhere was in Kibera. They are the only people who are producing these blocks in Kibera. So we approached them, and they were so humble, they were so good to us, and they explained themselves what they do and how the blocks work. So we found this is the deal and we can go with them. Yeah.
So, Mr. Sam, how did you work with the client now, right from the beginning now to the completion of this project?
We did back to some few months ago with the client, because there is that maisonette that we covered. Apparently they were the client. So that was bit of the prototyping for the larger vision that they had. So it took us around some 5 days doing that project there at Karen, Dagoretti end. And then eventually, after we realized that project, we were able to look at it, be able to see where areas we can improve for these other projects, and eventually redesigning again the plan that we developed for the initial Maisonette prototype, and coming up with it. So Starsama for this project was involved as the designer. So the architectural bit of it, the structural bit of the structure itself was developed by us, and then partly the implement of the project, because we came in as the subcontractor for the work. We did the foundation and the walling aspect of it, uh, putting in mind the vision of Livelihood Impact Fund, which is to get more people impacted with the construction itself. So we were able to train some of their workers within the locality. We developed this structure together with them. We use them as casual and some of them as foodies, and they also participated in some other works also in the project. So that is how we were able to engage with Livelihood Impact Fund as the client to develop this structure, the 8 units.
Okay. Now, what is the impact of the twist blocks for this particular project? Because when you see the surrounding, we see a lot of mabati structures. Some are rusting, and when you look at now this brand new project built with twist blocks, it's very attractive. So, what has been the impact so far?
So apart from just being attractive, one question which we ask ourselves: do people feel safe in the houses which they are in? And that was part of the research which we are doing. We get so much information that some people were cut by the iron roof, they were cut by their own babatis. Some people are like it was not safe at all at all. So I know they are very attractive, but again, the safer part of it takes much more marks than just being attractive. So the impact of this area is that now, in case of fire, we know that our people are safer. They cannot maybe lose everything. And the other thing is, in case of that is the government tries maybe to demolish everything, or in that case, I'm not saying that it will happen, but again, this is informal settlement area and the land is owned by the government. So in case of such a thing, people will not lose the materials, because we can take away our blocks, we can take away our mabati and everything, so we can save a lot from this. So this has been a success, if I can say, because we just completed these units, and people are just saying that I wish I can get a room to stay there, because they look much safer. And also for the parents who have young children, and now they feel that if I can get a room, it will be much safer, because even if I go to do my job somewhere else and I leave my children at home, I'm sure that they will be safe. The other thing is that the provision of toilet really worked so well. Initially, they used to pay for the toilet and spending 10 shillings per every visit, or 5 shillings per every visit. We did some calculation and found that maybe in a month, a person can spend more than 800 for toilet only. So now, providing it, that's a saving now. Whatever they were using for toilet, they can use in other ways. Again, about water, we have taps inside each room, just as I've mentioned. And one of the stories is that we had one of the lady who was disabled, and it was quite difficult for her maybe to get out and fetch water. But now it will be very easy for her, because water is just inside the room. So it has created a lot of positive impact, and people are liking it so far.
And what's the impact for you as Start Somewhere?
Well, I have to echo Dan's sentiments, because more rather we share the same vision with them. Because for us, our vision is to bring change to the inside of the slum area. That is why our main offices are based in Kibera. Our factories, both of them in Nairobi, are based in Kibera, because we believe in the aspect of creating local employment for the people within the slum area. That is in our factories and also in our sites. Then again, the aspect of being able to offer an affordable building solution to the people around the slum area, where they can be able to afford and develop some nice and safe structure for them. Like you can hear Dan has mentioned about the aspect of safety compared to the conventional way of building in Kibra, that is houses done out of iron sheets. Then the aspect of thermoclimating inside the houses, because inside an iron sheet house it's so very hot
Yeah.
during the midday hours and
Yeah.
very cold during the night. So the blocks offer that aspect of thermoclimating in such a way that the internal environment of the houses are like right now if you go into a room it will be generally cooler compared to the exterior, and at night it's generally warmer. So that is in terms of health. Also in terms of health, uh, the houses provide a good environment for kids. Parents can raise their families in a very nice environment that is not so much cold that can provoke them to catch a cold, or rather in that aspect. Again, the aspect of safety. You know, these are concrete blocks,
Yeah.
so you cannot compare them with mabati
Yeah.
sheets. So in terms of safety, a person can leave, go run his errands in the day, and then be able to come back home and find his property safe and secure. So it's all round impact that we have created in the slum area, from the employment, from the safety aspect, from the general health aspect. Yeah. So I have to say that we share the same vision with Livelihood Impact Fund. That is why we are working together with them.
We are going to talk about the construction
Yeah.
bit for this project. Now you can start off by telling us the entire plinth area
Mm-hmm.
for the ground floor and for the first floor, and thereafter we can talk about how you developed the foundation. Yeah.
Okay. So our design was based on the measurement that we were given with Daniel and team, because they did the first visit to this area. They were able to identify this area. They were able to do the deconstruction of the existing muddy and iron sheet structure that was existing here. Then they gave us those area. The area was around 87 square meter, which is 15.6 by 5.6. And then from me to able now to redesign our initial developed model that we employed for the first Maisonette house that we did in Karen, just to extrapolate it to be able to employ the same design for this one, because of the aspect of saving, because the technology itself allows you to do different options of building. For this one, we did not use the reinforced concrete elements for the columns. So we call it the dry stacking method, in such a way that you do your walling without the column. You only have the concreting at the beam level. We have only 2 beam levels on this structure. Then the client is able to realize good savings in terms of costing for concrete and the work itself that is associated with formwork and all that for the columns. And then again, there is this aspect of the simple roof system, the simple staircase system, the aspect of the simple finishes that the client have employed into our blocks, which we really generally like,
Yeah.
because of the aspect that it gives this seamless, good facade internally. And yeah, that is it. So just to give a small overview and breakdown of how we did the construction.
Yeah.
So for the foundation itself, as that mentioned, it's 87.3 square meters. We did excavation for this entire structure. So the excavation is more rather trying to cut the areas to be in one level, that because the twist block more rather work in a very leveled area. So they don't work well in a in a level that is not leveled. So they had to cut down a little bit, excavate those material and cut it elsewhere. And then from there now we're able to do excavation of the trenches where the walling pass, because of the aspect of the design provision that we have a thickening wall, or rather a thickening, concrete thickening below the walls. So we employed a method known as the ground beams. So in all the walls where we have the walls, even yeah, the external the staircase is the one which is supporting the staircase. We have a thickened wall that is comprising of a ground beam. Practically we had some D8 and D16, 300 by 300 mm, and then we did concreting. The concreting of the slab is 125 mm, and then we were able to utilize premix concrete, because of the aspect of the guaranteed consistency in the mix.
Yeah.
And since this is a long-term project, so we have to offer that for the client. And afterwards, we ensure that the slab is very level while we are doing the concrete casting, so that it's easier for the people who are doing the bricklaying progressively.
Yeah.
So we allowed the slab to cure for some time, and then we embarked on doing the walling. So for the slab itself, it took us around 4 days. That is the excavation, the compacting, the steel work, and the casting, because we
Yeah.
casted only one day. Steel work was done in a day.
Yeah.
Then the rest of the work was done progressively in the other 2 days.
Okay.
Then from there, we were able to come in to do the walling. For the walling bit of it, now this is now the main catch with the blocks themselves, because the blocks allow you to do walling in a very fast way, in a very fast approach. So the client is able to save for in terms of labor, where that you could have utilized using the convection or maybe bricks that would have been used to do the construction. So for the walling, we're able to achieve the walling in 14 days. Mark you, even the doors were also installed in the same phase of the walling. The beam were also laid. The joists
Uh,
for the upper floor are also done.
yeah. When you say you did the walling in 14 days, that's for both the ground floor
Yeah,
and the
for both the
first.
ground floor and the first floor,
Okay.
up to the level where we have the roof. And the roof
Yeah.
was actually done in 2 days.
Yeah.
The first day doing the badger board and all that. So 14 days, I mean, firstly, you have to ensure the first course is being set out properly. So
Yeah.
the setting out aspect is what usually consumes a lot of time. Once you get that done correctly, now the other segments of walling is very very fast.
Yeah.
Because of the aspect that the blocks are standard. If you don't do setting properly, then you lose a whole lot in terms of the construction. You'll have challenges. You'll see some blocks are not interlocking properly. You'll have some gaps and such.
Yeah.
So we spent a day to do the setting, the entire setting of the structure,
Yeah.
and then the other days were to do the walling. Let's say out of 14 days, let's say 5 days ground floor, 5 days upper floors.
Let's talk about the slab.
Yeah.
What what technology did you use for the slab?
For the ground floor slab or the first
First
floor
floor
slab?
now.
For
Yeah.
the first floor slab is still the same technology that we employed for the marionette house. If you remember the other video, we used the T-beams and the rod hollow section.
Yeah.
So the rod hollow section provided a quite economical, viable way of doing the construction, and actually easier in
Yeah.
installing. So the client chose that, and we were able to implement that for them. So the rod hollow joists of 150 by 50 were placed strategically according to the designs, and then we had a formwork, which is an in situ formwork. It does not come off. It is iron sheets.
Yeah.
So we employed an iron sheet just to support the concrete toppings. Then we concreted around 70 concrete. Concrete done with mixed with wood glue and fiberglass, then very very well nicely screeded the top of it to give you that nice screed outlook finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, they perform very very well, and they are very cost viable, these floors. They are economically viable for the client. Is able to save compared to the conventional way of doing floors.
Yeah.
And they match is their long term perspective of having a deconstructible house, now that the fact that they are not integrated with the other section of the house, like the columns, the beams. So you can just deconstruct the walls, and you can even save the road hollow section. So at least 90% of the material that were used in this structure should be salvaged, except for the courses that we did the beams, the two courses. The other materials should be salvaged.
Before we move on to the roofing,
Yeah.
there's an aspect on the walling I forgot to ask. How many blocks do you use for this project?
Okay. We were able to utilize around 2,800 blocks for this project, so which was sourced locally. Now that the project is based within Kibera, it was easier for the client and us to ship the blocks from our factories and then do the walling progressively. So even in these 14 days, I was able to utilize the same workers to do the loading and the flooding of the blocks. So you realize that the aspect of fast construction plays a very key role, because at the morning hour they'd go to the factory, load some 400 pieces of blocks that they lay that day.
Yeah.
Then they bring them on site, they're able to lay them. So it utilized around 2,800 blocks. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a difference with the roofing when you compare to the current house, which we did in part 2?
No, there's no difference in the roofing.
Yeah.
Compared to the current prototype. So for the roof, it's simple slanting iron sheet roof with purlins in terms of 50 by 50 square hollow section purlins running through, around 5 of them. And then the metal plate, or rather the timber plates, at top of every walling area.
Yeah.
Then you have the badger boards that prevent the wind flow into the areas, because of the fact that the back side is raised with twist block than the front side. So we have step twist block. So you have to employ the badger board to prevent the entry of the wind into the rooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess what you're left with now is to showcase a single room. Before even we do that, right on your right, you can see that some of these houses have been occupied. Is that the case for the entire, or do you have some vacant rooms?
Yes, as just we've said, 3 rooms are already occupied. So this is already occupied, and the one right behind us is also occupied. So we have another room at the ground floor which is occupied. So the other rooms are not occupied because we've not fully finished. There's something that we are doing in it, and that's why they are not occupied. But I think by next week, every room here will be occupied.
Are you in a position to share how much rent you anticipate to make per room?
Yes, the rent is 5,000 shillings per room, and of course it has water in it, and electricity is also there, and also toilet. So that one is a fair price for the rent in this area. Before we set up the rent, we had to walk around and see how much do people pay for the rent. So most of them pay between 4,000 and 6,000, and for that 4,000 and 6,000 there's no water and there's no toilets. So in that case they buy water from outside. They spend some money going to the toilet and also to the bathrooms and everything. So with the 5,000 is a standard. It's a good price, which you feel that having brought all the necessities needed, it's a fair deal.
Like you mentioned before, there was an existing muddy structure before. So who owned that particular structure, or does it just belong to the government?
Of course, Kibera is owned by the government, but again, they have an allotment letter from the chief just to show that this property is mine, temporarily is mine, and no other person can claim it. So there were some houses here which were muddy houses, very old, and with iron roofs which are very old. So we approached the landlady or the structure owner, and we brought the idea to her, and she agreed. So she owned this area, and also in the other part, it also belongs to her, and also this area which we've constructed.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
Do you,
but the thing is, they don't have the title deed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have an arrangement with her in sharing now these houses?
Yes, this is an non-profit organization. We spend a lot of money doing this, but again, now the question is, how is she going to pay back? Of course, if we tell them to pay some deposit, most of these people are working informally, they cannot pay. So we said that, okay, let's just work smoothly. We shall do, initially they were 4 units, so we shall do 8 units, and we take 4 units, and we give you 4 units. So we shall be collecting rent from the 4 units for a period of maybe 5 years. And after that, we shall give you the whole house. So apart from, because initially the rent was 3,000, the muddy houses, now she's charging 5,000. Of course, she's benefiting a little bit, but after 5 years, after now everything is cleared, she will have double of what she'll be earning for the last maybe 5 years.
Okay, mimi naitwa Maxwell Odhiambo. Natoka hapa Ontweka, Kibera.
Yeah. Ulikuja kujuaje kuhusu hii nyumba?
Hii nyumba kwanza niliona hii project ikijengwa kwa shule ya Global 1. So nilipenda venye mafundi walikuwa naitengeza cause kuijenga ni faster na venye wanaipanga ni mtu hawezi bomoa hii mawe kwa rahisi. So venye niliona hizi manyumba zinajengwa, akasema lazima nitafute nafasi hata mimi at least niishi kwa nyumba kama hii.
Unaweza compare aje hii nyumba na ile ulikuwa umeishi mbeleni?
Hii nyumba first naweza sema according to venye nimeona ikijengwa, naweza isema ni nyumba yenye unaweza at least kama maybe unataka kuhama, unataka kuchange system ya design nyingine, unaweza muobomoe, toe mawe, ni easier than ile ya kawaida, ile mawe kawaida. Hiyo unaweza vunja mawe. Hizi unaipangwanisha, then unajenga, maybe unataka kuextend ama kuchange design.
Yeah.
Ya hiyo ndio mimi imenibamba. Then ndani at least iko cool. Yeah, temperature iko cool.
Yeah. So kama client unahisiaje ukisikia maoni ya ya Maxi hapa?
Personally I feel good. Maxwell nimemjua for quite some time now, maybe 2 months. Tulipokuwa tunaanza hapa, mtu wa kwanza kuniona alikuwa Maxwell na akaniambia nataka nyumba, na sikumchukulia serious at that time kwa sababu hata mimi sikuwa nimeona the completion of the house, lakini wakati tulikaribia kumaliza akani approach tena akaniambia nataka nyumba serious na nataka kuhama. And then tulipomaliza, kwa sababu nilikuwa nimempromise that tukimaliza nyumba atapata, alikuwa the first person kupata nyumba. So personally I feel good that kuna mtu ameona project ikianza na aku give up, akangoja mpaka ikamalizika, then akaama akaishi ndani. I feel proud ninapokuja mara nyingi, na ni rafiki pia ninapomtembelea, nitahisi ya kwamba ni kuna mtu ambaye aliama mahali akaenda mahali pengine ambapo I was there when this person was moving.
Nimeshukuru sana Bwana Maxwell kwa kutukaribisha na kutumia hii nyumba yako kama example ya kuonyesha watu ndani kuna kaje ukiwa umeweka vitu zako. So tunashukuru sana na ubarikiwe.
Asanteni.
Yeah.
Na karibu tena, mnaweza kuja siku nyingine tena mtembee muone ninaendelea vipi, juu ndio nimeanza kukaa. So bado mnaweza rudi siku nyingine mtembee mjue venye naendelea kuishi. Kuna changes ama nyumba venye ilikuwa mpya ndio bado ilikuwa inafurahisha. Yeah.
Sawa. Na swali tu ya mwisho kabla tuende, maji imekuaje so far?
Maji iko poa. Hata mimi nilikuwa nadhani maybe maji inaweza kuwa ikisumbua juu tukishare na clients, lakini naona wengine wenye maybe wanatumia na mimi nikitumia naona maji iko sawa, fresh iko poa.
Hujakuwa na haja kutumia hizi mitungi sana?
So far hata kuna mtungi nimeweka maji bado natumia,
ziko tu zimekaa tu hapo.
Bado maji iko tu hapo.
Sawa sawa, tumeshukuru sana.
Asante.
We are now inside one of the rentable units. So Mr. Muthama, kindly remind us the size in square meters for this unit.
So the inside is 11 square meter.
Okay. Yeah. And from judging from the shape of it, it seems square. So this side is similar, the width is similar to the length.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Sam, you developed this particular unit. Has it come out the way you wanted from the renders?
Yeah, if you have a look at the plans that you are given, because more of those plans were able to share with the client was able to at least be at site in phases to be able to see if we're implementing what was indicated on the plan. So it came out really well the way we had anticipated, though it was not 100%, but you are able to achieve the greater percent, around 98% of the entire projection that the architecture had. So it was complete success for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said you provided water. Where are you sourcing the water from?
So the water is just, as you know, this is informal settlement. So we got someone who was supplying water. He sells water just across the road. And we approached him, and yes, he said that he can do it for us. So we were able to connect water in all the rooms, the eight rooms. So each room has a tap of water, as you can see. There's a lot of pressure in it. Each room has its own meter box, whereby the tenant will be paying water just according to as how they use. So the water is available 24/7.
Yeah. Something curious, Sam. When you're in this room, you cannot see the twist blocks. There's a material surrounding them. Kindly tell us what this material is.
Yeah, the material is known as geo-textile material. Yeah. It was part of implementation from the client side because of his, as I had mentioned earlier, we were working together with a consultant, the GPA, Global Property Advice. So the guy saw it wise to implement the geo-textile, which is more other form of at least trying to make the rooms look seamless, look very presentable to the general tenant. They liked it this way. Then the way it was applied is it was mixed with water and wood glue. Then it is then smeared to the wall, and then the geotextile is just stick to the wall. So it's a very easy solution that they proposed, and a very nice innovation for the twist block. As you are saying, we're also now learning in this field of the twist block. So we like it generally as that somewhere. and it gives this good finish for a residential, an affordable residential to them. So as long as it meets the client's need, paying for it.
Yeah. Are you able to paint on top?
Yeah, for this one you're able to smear paint on top. So you just do some undercoat, then you do the general paint. So I think the client have they have this provision with the landlord, or rather the tenant, that they provide them this, and then the tenant can be able to paint according to how they like. But generally the white finish, some tenants tend to love it the way it is, and then they move in as it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
The idea here is to be like a wallpaper.
Yeah, the idea is to be like a wallpaper, because now it saves some aspect with the spaces that maybe were left with the blocks. Then it gives these generals a good clean finish at the long run.
Okay.
Yeah. So for the people who don't want to see the joints of the blocks, they can employ this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why we said that we can have the geo-textile, because these are deconstructible housing. We have two ways which we can do, because we realized that there were some small spaces left between the blocks, and we said, how can we do that to maybe to cover those spaces? So there were two ways. Number one, we could use this geo-textile, and number two, the person can decide to plaster.
Yeah.
Now, the impact of plastering is that now you transform it from deconstructability, because now once you plaster, you cannot save anything, because it becomes more of a permanent house. So we came up with this design of geo-textile, because in case of anything, you can just pull out your geo-textile. The other thing is about sound insulation. We noticed that when we are in this room, we can hear some other people talking from the other room. So we tried, how can we come up with a design which we can cover and such that we cannot hear a person from the other room. So this one is a solution, and it works so well. Of course, we are not professional in installing it, but we've tried. This was the first time doing this. But again, it came out well, just the way we expected. So now when we started renting the houses, because we have some houses which are not yet completed, which shall be completed maybe today or tomorrow, we noticed that people are not willing to be in the house which has not this. So it means that they have already loved it. So it's a good solution, and the house generally looks good. In fact, when you are here, you cannot say you are in Kibera. You feel like you are in a state house.
It's very cool. How much has this entire project cost you?
The entire project has costed me 2.6 million, and this includes the cost of blocks, the cost of design, cost of sewer, cost of electricity, cost of water. So everything is 2.6. When you do mathematically, it's about 18,000 per square meter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that within the budget you are working with?
Of course, that was not the budget. The budget, we were anticipating to go a little bit lower, because in Karen we did at around 15,000 per square meter. But now this is Kibera. We have different soil, we have different structures. So from 15 to 18 is just within the budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, maybe to add on the same, for the current prototype, we did not do the plumbing in the other rooms. We only did that single room where we showcased some bed and some sofa. The electric also wasn't done. So, and the sewer, we didn't connect to any sewer.
Also the
So
electricity.
these are workable unit. Someone can come in, live in, rent properly. Then we have the toppings, the work tables in every room, the water in every room, the electricity, a good sanitation facility outside the toilet.
Yeah.
You see, and a working sewer system. So that cost is all inclusive, as the client has mentioned.
Yeah.
The research showed us that they pay between 4,000 and 6,000. And for the 6,000 are the block houses, the 4,000 are the mud houses. So given this one at 5,000 is quite affordable, given that even the ones that they are paying for 6,000, it has no water, it has no sewer connection, the electricity is not done formally. So 5,000 is a good deal for them. And that's where they are coming to me, telling me that I'm willing to pay that amount, because I feel that this is a safer place for me to live.
Yeah, again, maybe to add on the same, as Daniel has mentioned, there's room for improvement. Yeah, for this one, we spent quite a fortune in the foundation, and we are looking to at least improve that foundation in our next prototype. So that is work in progress. we're looking at precast beam elements such a way that we're able to reduce the steel that we utilize for this, because I've mentioned that in the foundation we need a ground beam all around in the areas where we have the thickening of the wall. And the concrete also, we did a pre-mixed concrete, which is quite expensive compared to unmixed. So we are also trying to improve the technology, try to find potential areas to maximize our savings and come up with a general affordable structure. Yeah, so in the next segment, maybe you can see how we're able to incorporate such.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask you guys some personal questions regarding both your companies. We'll start with Sam.
Okay.
Now, as I know you've gotten attention from my channel, so what is the vision? What is the future of Start Somewhere now? Do you anticipate to work outside Kibera, or what are you thinking of as Start Somewhere?
As Start Somewhere, our impact trickles down to the middle level or the middle class areas, the high end areas, because from the first video that we did, we have had numerous reiterations from the involved stakeholders, the people who love the technology. Initially, we've done buildings out of Kibera also. We've constructed in Kirinyaga, we've constructed in Meru, we've also constructed in Kawangware, which is outside the informal settlement area. So yeah, we are in for it. We are open. We've had numerous clients wanting to develop private facilities, private houses for themselves, and they are outside the informal area. So anywhere in the world, we're able to develop for them.
Yeah. Okay. And for the Livelihood Impact Fund, how can people watching help you guys to achieve your goals, to help housing in informal settlements?
So we have a big dream of transforming the houses in Kibera, because Kibera is large. We cannot do it on ourselves. If we do 100 houses in Kibera, that's just a fraction of the whole housing in Kibera. So apart from Kibera, we also need to do other slums and ghetto. For example, in Mathare, there's a house in which we just did. It was completed maybe 2 weeks ago. We also looking at Mukuru. We visited Mukuru last week, and we identified a certain a client or someone who is willing to have these houses. So we are not just looking at Kibera. We are even outside Kibera. That's where the dreams are. This is the first housing in Kibera, but we aspire in doing many more in Kibera and other areas. So if maybe you're watching and you feel that you can give us support on that, because the impact or the reason is not to create or to have much profit. The reason is just to transform lives. So if you feel that you have that heart, you can just chip in and maybe you can give us some ideas, or you can support us financially. We are not asking for finances, but if you feel that you're that heart, you are highly welcome. We are not closed. We don't say that we need to do it by ourselves. We are also looking for partners. So if you can partner with us just to transform lives in Kibera, you are very highly welcomed. Yeah.
So guys, I'll leave both their contacts in the description and also on the pinned comment. Kindly get in touch with them at the time you find convenient. Ask questions, because this is a relatively new technology in Kenya. So there are many questions. We are all learning, like they are learning when they're building using the twist blocks. So share this video widely with people who are looking to build using the twist blocks. And we thank you for watching this video. We shall see you in the next project.